listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
Du hører på Hjernen din på luften. Programmet vil begynne snart. Nyt.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. Scientists are going missing. Aliens are real. Frazzle drip, probably real at this point. Can we just... Is that safe to say? Am I going to get murdered by the Clintons? I don't know. All the Abrahamic religions, they worship Satan. They don't even realize it. Forces beyond your understanding and comprehension. They're running amok. It's like Ghostbusters after the containment vessel gets shut off, except we've been living with that this entire time. We just haven't realized it. A very few select number of people have, and most of the elite have realized it by their 15th ayahuasca trip in their circle of friends with just as much money as them. Folks, we're all forced to go to work. Go through our normal lives. We all know the president, his friends, Democrats, Republicans, all of them. They're putting on their bibs for a baby back rib dinner, literally baby back. And we're all just going to visit grandma, and we're just not supposed to bring up the fact that, like, celebrities bathe in blood like vampires. We're not supposed to go, hey, you know, the adrenochrome thing, there's something to that. What is a normal conversation these days, guys? Back in the day, you could there were Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and we used to think that there was a difference between the two. You used to think if you belonged to one that the other two were false religions and that you were the only right one. Now we know that all of you guys just worship the sixth planet. You know, what is life? What is a normal day? What is an existence? I caught myself the other day, and I have to be honest, this is my confession. I was scrolling through TikTok and I got the recruitment page for Minneapolis Scientology, and I thought to myself, hey, maybe L. Ron Hubbard and like that whole organization he set up, maybe he has it more figured out than any of these Abrahamic religions. Maybe all that time hanging out with Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, by the way, look it up. Those three, they did rituals together. The founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory at NASA, the founder and leader of Scientology and the most famous occultist in the 20th century, probably, all hung out together. Famously, they went to magic with a K, sex rituals together, goddess summoning rituals, and influenced one another's work. They credited each other. The world is chaos, folks. And when you know all of this sort of stuff, you sound insane when you try to have a normal conversation. And you know what America needs right now? I think what we all need as Americans and beyond depends on if you're listening from another country. If so, thank you very much. But you know what we all need as a country, quite frankly? We all need to ease our fears and our nervousness around the economy, war, everything. We need Tim Walz on Jimmy Kimmel Live, ladies and gents. Yes, your local congressman is the reason that your daughter went missing last fall. I'm so sorry to break it to you. It's because she belonged to a specific bloodline, and what these Satanists are really into. Never do one of those ancestry things, 23andMe's. If they find your blood as interesting, you could end up in a van on like some cold limestone at some point. Just warning you. Your congressmen stole your daughter away because she is distantly related to King Solomon, and they split her heart open with a ceremonial blade that he got when he graduated Yale. He drank her blood, he dissolved her in acid, but guess what? Your daughter was a worthy sacrifice because he's going to get a third house because of it. Folks, aliens, demons, consciousnesses existing, bending our consciousnesses all around us. And Tim Walz is here to make us all realize that there is still a fight to be had. The 11% rebate at Menards is real good. And I don't know. Let's get our daily dose of goy slop with Jimmy Kimmel Live, folks.
President Trump has called our next guest a loser, whacked out, and grossly incompetent, which are all strong indicators that he must be doing something right. From the land of 10,000 lakes, please welcome Governor Tim Walz.
Now, I am not salty that he is getting all the... I'll put this on mute and I'll let it play out. He's basically just going up and hugging Jim and like shaking his hand. I am not just saying this because I'm salty that I am not the breakthrough Minnesota star, but to have it be Tim Walz as of recent, obviously Prince is dead. Bob Dylan is quiet and never really comes across as sincere in interviews, but like a weird level of like actually sincere, but like he has an incapability of it. I don't even know how to describe Bob Dylan as a person or how he conveys himself, but Bob Dylan is not the representative for Minnesota Tim Walz is, or at least he's what most people now think of when they think of Minnesota. They don't even think of the good movie Fargo. They think of this buffoon.
I have to tell you, you look so much healthier than you did the last time you were here.
Well, thank
Oh.
you.
The last time you seemed shaken.
I think that's a compliment. Did I
It
look
is a
bad?
compliment. No, because at that time you'd just been like, they just fired you out of the chute. You were kind of like, I don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I was hoping you would be the vice president the next time you came.
Thank you.
Do you regret not wearing eyeliner? I suggested it.
What is that giggle? Dude. No, but he doesn't. You know what he does regret? I was gonna bring a little communist manifesto up here. I bought a bunch the last time I visited China. They told me it would look bad though.
Your state, it seems to me, and correct me if I have any of this wrong.
We are heavily influenced by the communist regime. Thank you so much for
It
noticing.
seems to me that your state has been a target of the Trump administration ever since you
Right.
ran against them. Do you believe that that is a coincidence?
No, it's not a coincidence.
It's not.
And
What a softball question. Do you think that your mother pushed you out of her vagina, and are you like grateful to her and like women and like vagines?
I don't think it's just me. I think he hates Minnesota because we take care of our people.
Oh my god, Minnesota has the most spun out geeks. Go to any medium-sized... Okay, this is a very specific thing. 5,000 to... Actually, no, it's more like just under maybe 10,000. 10,000 to like 50,000 people in this city go to their medium-sized college. Not the university. Maybe even the university, but go to like their community college. And there are going to be people spun out, sleeping in their cars. There's people doing this in the Walmarts, for God's sakes. Listen, Minnesota, they are a tundra land. They are listen, they are very good to their people. I will not deny that. They're good to their people in the sense where they will take all of your money to funnel it to people who will either steal it, take it to foreign countries, or just buy themselves a new Rolex. You know what I mean? I know that steal it is included in that, but like, listen. Minnesota has many redeeming factors. We have that one movie, Jingle All the Way.
Invest in people. We feed our people. I think that's what it is.
Did you get any like heads up or warning before they sent that huge ICE force into your state?
Not really a Thanksgiving night tweet and all that. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden it was
really.
there and, and it just intensified over those, over the winter.
Do you think
Really?
they wanted to surprise you, or was that just a general lack of courtesy?
Yeah, I think they wanted to roll this out. I'm convinced they were going to pick a state. They wanted one. I think they thought Chicago. They tried it there because they had 500 in Chicago at Metro. What they call that Midway Blitz.
Midway
I think
Blitz.
Minneapolis was about 3,500. No, I think they wanted to roll this out, and I think they wanted to get a response from people that created violence so that they could use the Insurrection Act. I mean, this guy's an authoritarian, and that was his goal. And,
That is the usual line that I hear. You seem very sympathetic to authoritarians, though, when they are of Chinese descent. Just a minor note, minor, tiny note. Oh, speaking of minors, Russell Brand admitted to sleeping with a 16-year-old. We'll get to that later.
We didn't know where they were at. And just countless from, little microaggressions to this week, the Hennepin County attorney charged 2 of them. They just pulled somebody over by gunpoint randomly on the street.
Oh,
decided they didn't want to do
microaggressions.
anything and drove away. Thank goodness. I think that person had a dash cam. But we don't know yet. But the good news is we'll capture all that. Attorney General Ellison will go after it. But no cooperation from the federal government.
Attorney General Ellison will go after it and then make a rap album about it.
Help them by billionaires who commit this fraud.
By
But no,
billionaires.
it's an excuse for them to do it. Thank goodness the people of Minnesota showed the courage, stood up, and pushed back.
Is the fallout from that situation, though, why you decided that you would not run for re-election?
No, and I think for me, look, 2 terms is probably enough. I think we get enough of people making careers out of this. Just candidly, Minnesota had a pretty tough year. In June of last year, we finished a legislative session. We're evenly divided, 67 in the House, 35-34 in the Senate. But the most extraordinary politician and person I ever worked with was Melissa Hortman, who was gunned down in June of last year. She and I were partners in doing this work or whatever, and then the Annunciation shooting.
Why didn't you run and save her with a
the
gun?
fraud stuff on that. Republicans run it up. They put money in it.
I thought Tim Walz was the big gun owner, all right? I thought that he was the guy that could handle an elephant fucking, you know, those big rifles that can pierce an elephant's skin and shit. I thought Tim Walz was the big gun guy, and that's why they chose him, because he could run up in camo and shit, because he's a big man's man. Why didn't he run over there with his AR-15 and blow that fucking guy to smithereens to save his a sacred friend and colleague?
What has happened since then? And so, look, I'm grateful she's out there, she's working it. I have this theory.
Kamala.
Donald Trump sucks up so much oxygen. We need to fill every single lane with good people who want to make sure people are fed, that we have health care, we don't fight stupid wars. Glad she's out there.
What a boomer. I love him.
At the No Kings rally, Bruce Springsteen showed up in May and put on quite a show.
Greatest day of my life.
Was
After
it?
my marriage, greatest day of my life.
Oh my god, of course the big boomer governor, Tim Walz and Jimmy Kimmel. How old is Jimmy Kimmel? He's got to be 50, right? Age? Give it to me. Google, quick. 58, fuck. Yeah, of course, these guys are the same age. Of course, they just love whatever Bruce Springsteen does. Yeah, honestly, I was like, I thought it was cringe when 40-year-olds were getting into the Bruce Springsteen song that just came out, Streets of Minneapolis. That's not even what it sounds like.
Was it, huh? Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm glad he came out there. And, you know, he and Tom Morello were out there. They went to First Avenue. We're all missing Prince. It was 10 years ago this week. And music speaks to the soul.
He got no claps. Let's run it back one more time. Who? Prince who? By the way, sorry, Minnesota. Your guy that was apparently like the most representative of the state. Why? The most legacy-ridden person that you'll ever produce. Yeah, he gets this applause break at the Jimmy Kimmel show.
We're all missing Prince. It was 10 years ago this week. And music speaks to the soul. We're home with Bob Dylan and the protest songs. So we had Joan Baez. And then, of course, Bruce comes out and sings Streets of Minneapolis. And he said that was one of the largest crowd he ever played in front of. He played in front of the Berlin Wall in '88. We had 200,000 people in Minneapolis on the streets protesting back. So,
Wow, that's something else. Now, you mentioned...
That's something else.
Since you did mention Prince, I'm wondering if you...
we always mention Prince.
Yeah, right. If you believe in ghosts.
What the fuck are we even talking about? Okay, Russell Brand. Yes, I slept with a 16-year-old. That's the UK's age of consent. Oh, not my words, his.
In Europe and in the United Kingdom where I'm from, the age of consent is 16, and I did sleep with a 16-year-old when I was 30. But when I was 30, I was a very different person. I was a lot younger, and I was an immature 30-year-old. Consensual sex, actually, with a variety of people, when there is a strong power differential, as there is when you're a famous man that has the ability to attract women that I had at that time,
What?
I think involves exploitation. I think it is exploitative. I recognise that my sexual conduct in the past was selfish, and I did not apply enough consideration.
Was this around the time that you were in the movie, like, about the Easter Bunny and shit like that? And then you were like, I want candy. Does anyone else remember that movie? Hop? Wasn't it called Hop? I don't... Whatever. Iranian state media. I know, let's just pivot right away, folks. Iranian state media, if you don't know, recently released dramatic footage. They absolutely dogged on us. They saved a clip on their PS5 after 360 no-scoping. I know I'm crossing generations of memes here, but they are showing this morning the Revolutionary Guard commandos fast roping onto the decks of the two commercial tankers in a brazen broad daylight seizure. Okay. We have a state TV broadcast confirming that the MCS Francesca and the Epaminondas, I'm going to get it right one day, 100%, are now under Iranian control after being stormed by an armed-to-the-teeth boarding party in the Strait of Hormuz. Fascinating story, a worrisome one. It'll be our first to cover. Okay, so the released footage. Let's look at it together. Let's review it. Let's begin.
This morning, dramatic video aired by state TV shows Iranian forces seizing two cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Masked soldiers climbing the deck, searching this ship, long guns at the ready. These scenes playing out one day after President Trump extended his ceasefire with Iran indefinitely.
I think what we're seeing from the regime, it feels emboldened by this indefinite extension. It feels it can just wait out President Trump while the damage ramps up to the world economy. And if you look historically, it's managed to sustain the economic impacts of severe sanctions for many years, and is likely to do so once again.
Pirates are like a notorious force because they're so tough to pin down. I understand that if you're able to spot them with a drone the way that we were blowing up drug vessels earlier this year, then it's a lot easier. But when it comes to actually blowing up just pirates, their entire crews, we don't know. They're very dispersed. It's more of an ideology, piratism. You just need a canoe, and then eventually you'll work your way up to a ship. That's how a lot of these Iranian pirate vessels, some of them start out that way. Some of them are mostly sent out by the Iranian regime. Don't get me wrong. These are skilled Jack Sparrow-level pirates.
The White House downplaying Iran's actions, saying the seizure of those ships does not violate the ceasefire.
These were not U.S. ships. These were not Israeli ships. These were two international vessels.
Cargo ships and oil tankers are now waiting just outside the Strait of Hormuz, unable to pass in the face of Iran's threats. An officer on one tanker tells us they won't move without safety guarantees.
I honestly cannot say what is worse.
What is worse?
If it's
They're disguising the voice. It's very bizarre.
standing by here, waiting and hoping not to get hit,
It's a woman, I can tell.
or the uncertainty of not knowing if the strait is open or closed.
According to the Washington Post, the Pentagon has suggested
She was very strayed with her thoughts. I don't know, did she get hit in the head with a mortar?
it could take 6 months to clear mines from the strait. Analysts already calling this the biggest energy crisis in history. And now, in the midst of this naval conflict, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has fired the Secretary of the Navy without explanation. There had reportedly been tension with Hegseth in recent months.
Well,
Meanwhile,
who's he gonna get? Colonel Sanders?
despite repeated assurances from President Trump that Iran's military force has been depleted, the head of the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency says Iran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones that can threaten U.S. and partner forces throughout the region. Another sign of uncertainty, with peace talks stalled and the world watching.
Well,
And Iran has suggested that it will not return to the negotiating table.
we're back to a no-go zone. The Strait of Hormuz, folks. How long did we last? A couple days? I told you all this was tenuous. I knew this was coming, and and maybe you did too. If so, you also get a gold medal for being smart with me. Oil prices hovering near record highs. Iranian officials vowing not to reopen the waterway until the U.S. naval blockade is fully lifted. The world is waiting to see what happens next, folks. I'm just going to put it this way. Whatever's going on in the Middle East is not as interesting as our next story. So Trump, Bibi Netanyahu, and Al-Khamenei, you demons from hell, you can try to steal away the world attention. You can try to make us all focus on this. I'm going to talk about MrBeast being sued by an ex-employee alleging sexual harassment, wrongful termination, other junk. I want to talk about that, and there's nothing you can do. Folks, let's begin the discussion around MrBeast. The YouTube world, folks, is facing a major legal shakeup today as Jimmy Donaldson, if you didn't know his real name, I know, it's very silly. Jimmy Donaldson, better known to his 300 million subscribers as MrBeast, has been hit with an explosive lawsuit from a former high-level employee. The complaint, filed in a California court this Wednesday, April 22nd, alleges a workplace culture rife with discrimination and retaliation. Now, if you're a Rosanna Pansino fan, as a nerdy nummies kid since the day I got on the interwebs has been, I was already up on this. She was saying that he was shady since the beginning. She never gets into drama. And listen, she's become a drama queen ever since then, but that was her first major shakeup into drama because she was like, oh, he edits videos to make it look like people don't win who are women and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is juicy. This is tea. She was like, oh, I'm hearing this bad stuff from former employees, whatever. The plaintiff, a former creative producer, claims that after they raised concerns regarding safety protocols and unethical filming conditions during a high-stakes challenge video, they were sidelined, demoted, and eventually terminated in a targeted effort to silence them. With them, I refer to them not because they're non-binary, because they have not been given a gender yet. So they are just called the plaintiff, their former creative producer. The lawsuit also pulls back the curtain on the multi-millionaire million-dollar beast empire, alleging that the intense pressure to produce viral content resulted in a hostile, exclusionary environment. According to the filing, the employee was subjected to derogatory comments and passed over for promotions in favor of less qualified colleagues who fit a specific inner circle profile. Okay, everybody hires their friends over the more qualified person. I'm sorry that this is your first time in the business world. The former producer also alleges that MrBeast's production company ignored the repeated complaints about long hours and physical risks taken during elaborate stunts, claiming that anyone who questioned the status quo was labeled not a team player. That, you know what, that's what every person who's ever worked for a company with more than, let's call it, 200 employees knows exactly what this like family bullshit talk is. And they were pushed out of the organization. A spokesperson for MrBeast has strongly denied the allegations, calling the lawsuit entirely without merit. A transparent attempt to exploit the brand's success, the defense maintains that the employee was dismissed due to documented performance issues and that the company has always prioritized a safe, inclusive environment for its hundreds of workers. I never believe a company who says that, by the way. Has anybody ever said that and, like, not been proven to be, like, hitting their employees in the head with hammers? You know what I mean? Isn't this, like, what we heard from... This is what we heard from Enron right before they fell apart, you know what I mean? The legal battle, it comes at a sensitive time for the creator. If you don't already know, he's currently in the middle of launching a massive global reality competition with Amazon Prime Video, a project that could face increased scrutiny as these workplace allegations move toward a discovery phase. As of this morning, legal analysts are saying that the case could set a significant precedent for how creator-led companies are held to the same labor standards as traditional Hollywood studios. This is why, folks, maybe I don't think I'll ever hire anybody on the books, okay? You know what I mean? I'll do what WWE does when their employees get hit in the head too much and they're like, we don't want to cover their medical debt. Let's call them an independent contractor that we hire. So that's going to be any person that future works from here. When Kash Patel comes to work for me, when all of Trump's former cabinet comes to work for me, and the tranny who ran the health department under Biden comes to work for me, they're all going to be independent contractors working for your Brain on Air. While MrBeast has built a reputation on extreme philanthropy and doing good, like the wells in Africa, all that junk, this lawsuit challenges the internal reality of his massive operation. The court hearing expected early in June. The digital entertainment industry is watching closely to see if the king of YouTube will be forced to overhaul the internet culture, the internal culture, god damn it, that built his billion-dollar brand. Or what are we looking at here? We're looking at a man who has never been actually stood in the way of before. What do I mean by this? He has been capable of doing whatever it is he wants because he kind of stayed off the radar of crime. You know, when it came to hiring a tranny that eventually came out as a creep who was messaging, was a 14-year-old? We're talking about Chris Tyler. I forget the name. Chris from MrBeast. Not Mr. Breast, MrBeast. Ava Chris Tyson, formerly Chris Tyson, born July 1st. Damn, he's born the same month as me. 1996, is a prominent American YouTuber known as the former co-host and longtime screen collaborator with the MrBeast channel. In 2023, he announced that he was transitioning, adopted the name Ava Chris Tyson, and used those pronouns. Ava Chris Tyson. Is he still pretending that she's a she? I think so. Yes, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to continue to call the pedophile what he is at heart. Let's get a clip running from ABC News, folks. I was calling this from day one with this smiley weirdo. I have a feeling that there is, listen, the teeth also, he recently got it fixed because he's missing his buck teeth. He's missing his creepy teeth. He's got these like denture looking things now. He is so focused on image that listen, I'm not focused on image. I don't have to show my face, but listen, I'm going to dress myself up. I'm going to look nice, but I'm not going to be getting my face smashed. I'm not going to be clavicularing it up. I'm going to be looking natural. This guy, I don't know what's with the hair. I hate the douchey, like, I look like I play basketball facial hair that he kind of has, this little stupid gay goatee. And I'm not using gay as derogatory, except I am, but, like, let's just go.
He's the biggest YouTuber on the planet.
I recreated every single set from Squid Game in real life.
Jimmy Donaldson, better known as MrBeast, has built a multi-billion-dollar empire. With more than
Chubby-faced fuck.
470 million subscribers drawn to videos
So I was wrong about 300 million. I'm fucking, yep.
like these.
In this video, we're building 10 schools all around the world.
But this morning, a former employee is suing his production company.
I was yelled at, cursed at.
Lorraine Mavromatis claims she was subject to sexual harassment and gender bias.
I was obligated to attend one-on-one meetings at the CEO's house by myself in an upstairs room only lit by a side lamp.
Her lawsuit claims male employees would tell women to shut up in meetings and mock.
Listen, they tell men to shut up in meetings, I bet. But also, like, why do they need to be listening to women and their ideas? They're a man's company. They're a men's environment. Honestly, it's like her fault for working at such a... You watch one MrBeast video, you already get the sense that it's like... Every person who just heard what I did knows exactly the man and personality that I'm talking about.
Her lawsuit claims male employees would tell women to shut up in meetings.
It's your fault.
Mock female participants in MrBeast videos.
Your fault.
She says after returning from maternity leave, she was fired.
And the reason was, and I quote, "You are too high of a caliber for this position."
The company denies the accusation,
Good excuse.
saying the lawsuit is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements. It cites messages on a company Slack channel about a meeting in which Mavromatis allegedly wrote, "I need to cancel and postpone. I'm actually in labor at the hospital as we speak." A coworker
That is
replying,
fake.
"You shouldn't even be checking Slack now," sending a big hug and lots of success. MrBeast spoke at the Time 100 Summit.
There's a lot of attention right now on your company culture.
Yeah.
Are there things you'd like to change?
Yeah, I mean, that's always something that people talk about. Because I started this business when I was 11, so obviously I didn't even know what that word meant back then.
What? What is he even saying? Is he actually retarded? I think that Jimmy Donaldson is actually retarded. And I think that he's actually retarded in the sense where Steve Jobs was actually retarded. Do you look at, okay, Steve Jobs' personality. Let's compare these two very alike figures. Now, first you're looking at me, you're going, Ollie, you're crazy. You're connecting dots that aren't really there. You're seeing constellations with two very different stars. And I'm saying, hear me out. I've thought this through more than you might think. Steve Jobs, many people don't realize, was kind of a fucking nut. Not in the sense where, oh, he treated his employees badly. No. I'm talking about a man who tried to cure his cancer not via any medicinal remedies. He believed that his cleansing protocols, juices, carrot juices, all that junk would have flushed out his systems properly. He was notorious for having his daughter Lisa, I believe in his 20s, 28 I think it was, and he denied it for years, even after a paternity test proved it. Refused to like child support. He was a deadbeat father, even though he had money. It was what I'm saying, and he was just when it comes to a person, the way they should behave. He was not an exemplary model we would want to show your child and go, this is who you should try to emulate. Now listen. Jimmy Donaldson, behind the scenes, we're hearing that he is tough on people. We're hearing that he has this similar Steve Jobs angle of chasing perfection. He's focused on what people want, what the algorithms, not what the algorithms will serve people, whatever, but like riding the algorithms perfectly and then getting into people's he has studied the exact facial expressions that make people want to click on videos. He has studied the exact composition of thumbnails that get people's attention. He is a numbers, but he's also a simplicity guy, which is why he keeps it based on the colors. He is a very childlike in the sense where it's like every single one of his videos, you look at it and it's like, this looks like a fucking like a playground that kids would play at. This looks like the backyard at like some fucking, you know, it's like a place made of foam where kids climb all over it. There's slides and shit. It's like he is an exemplary model when it comes to marketing. He's great at that, just like Steve Jobs. He has no inherent talent. He can count to like 100,000 or whatever. That was like one of the main videos that got him main attention. And Steve Jobs, much like him, he's just the guy at the seat, the head really, of this major, massive organization that maybe one day we'll see him leave. We don't know. Who will be the next MrBeast? This is like when Tim Cook stepped in for Steve Jobs after Steve's passing. Listen. Oh yeah, and Tim Cook is apparently leaving. I called that earlier this week. I was like, they're looking at this guy, Turing or whatever. Not the Alan Turing, the whatever. Let's get into the more about the MrBeast scenario. Let's hear a little bit from NBC. Teensy bit.
He built a massive empire on viral stunts, high-stakes challenges, and giving away millions of dollars. But tonight, MrBeast's companies are facing a legal challenge of their own, just as Jimmy Donaldson himself took the stage at the Time 100 Summit as one of the world's most influential people. Former employee Lorraine Mavromatis filing a federal lawsuit in North Carolina, claiming she faced discrimination, retaliation, was required to work while on maternity leave, and was terminated within a few weeks of returning to the job, told she was too high caliber for the position. NBC News spoke with Mavromatis today in a broadcast exclusive.
I do not want to be silenced anymore. I really want to use my voice.
In the complaint, she alleges that she rose quickly inside the company after starting in 2022, but after raising concerns about sexual harassment, was demoted and transferred.
Listen, why, as a woman in a company run by a bunch of dudes, I think the understanding is, like, traditionally, this has been like since the beginning of business and time, essentially. They know that when there's a man's man culture, do you really think that reporting to HR is going to get you the accountability that you demand? HR is the lapdogs of these CEOs. HR are the little bitches. I've always said this. I hate HR people. HR is the closest thing we have to demons from hell. And I compare that to many other professions that I think are also evil and notorious and bad and, you know, whatever. People want to go, oh, CEOs are evil. Yeah, sure. CEOs are evil, whatever. But guess who defends those CEOs because it's their job? And not just their lawyers, not whatever, the people who are in that building every day with their little fat fucking feet in their little stupid shoes with the compression socks because they have diabetes, they have little tiny necklaces, they have maybe glasses on, they are smiling because they think that smiling is a personality, and they're just like, hi, they're so cheery, they always sound like they have orgasm voice. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You think that cheeriness is a personality? You fucking dope. That is 90% of HR people. HR is the closest thing that we have to demons from hell. I will always preach it. This is my gospel, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's get honest, let's get truthful about this MrBeast's experience. This is her fault for reporting it.
Also calls a division where, quote,
careers go to die. MrBeast spokeswoman responding to NBC News, saying Mavromatis's position was eliminated as part of a restructuring, adding in a statement, quote, "This clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations
That's right.
and categorically false statements.
That's right.
We have the receipts to prove it. There is extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and witness testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers looking to manufacture a payday from us."
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Donaldson will not be held accountable. Folks, I think this is awesome. This is king shit. He's standing up for what's right, which is what's wrong. And listen, what is wrong with business is actually what's right with it. And here's the key that many people don't like. The reason that communism will never work is because people like sitting in towers. They like going up to the 58th floor bar. They love going up to the fucking glass tower. They love working where they can get a martini shaken. They love going where they can have a little shit sesh up on the top floor with their buddies. And they love cheating on their wives at work. They love going into the stall with men or women. It's Greek at this point, ladies and gentlemen. At these towers where people are just making so much money. It's more money than you'll ever hold in your hands, ever hold in your bank. It is stuff that it's biblical, the level of greed that sits in these towers. Not just Miami, it is everywhere. Any financial institution from you can call it Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, all the way to Minneapolis. The smallest towns to the biggest towns. The people who are involved with the money, who are living or in a situation where they're working in a tower that is more than 3 stories, they feel like kings of the empire. They are not living modest lives. They are the types of people that own boats. They use 3 months out of the year, folks. Listen, I know I sound nuts. I know I sound crazy, but this is just how business works. It's how it's always worked. And to fight the naturalistic side of all of this, it's to fight nature. It's to fight what we know all to be true. It's to fight the planets revolving around the sun, folks. It's nothing you're ever going to stop. It's the way that monkeys, which we are, listen, racists, it's not just the black people that are monkeys. You are monkeys. As a matter of fact, you shave a monkey, what color is their skin? White. Just saying, KKK, just saying, what color are monkeys really? Just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just, I Uno reverse carded the racists. Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that fun? Okay, let's get on to the rapid fire section of today's headlines. A lot of stuff that you need to know about, a lot of stuff we can cover to keep your media diet healthy. Let's get into the first major story. Fluoride exposure, according to scientists, I'm assuming, listen, they are going full reverse order. They are going backwards, actually. They are saying, purely due to the fact that RFK Jr. is against fluoride usage. And this is what I believe the key motivator is. It's because they're actually saying, no, we actually have to engage in goy slop more. If you're not familiar with the term goy slop, it is what the goyim are served in order to reduce their thinking, their capabilities, their body integrity, to distract them from actual art with purpose, merit, everything. But also, it's to degrade your body. Goy slop is also McDonald's. McDonald's is goy slop. Most drive-through, all of it is goy slop, regrettably. And I hate to tell you that, I hate to be the informant of it, but the majority of it is goy slop. Frozen chicken nuggets are goy slop. Sorry to say it, folks. There's goy slop even in the grocery store. If you're not shopping kosher, you're eating goy slop. I'm still eating some goy slop. I have to admit, I'm not a perfect person, and also I'm broke as fuck. And to eat kosher all the time, how do you think I do it? I'm not on welfare. I don't have 8 children. What do you expect I'm supposed to do? Apparently, scientists now, in refuting the bold visionary of our time that is RFK Jr., they are going backwards on their studies when, admittedly, we've had evidence for years now that fluoride in excess, like in your drinking water, for example, is linked to neurotoxicity. We've known this for years. But now, scientists are saying fluoride exposure through drinking water during childhood has no impact on IQ. In adolescence or adulthood, a new study published Monday finds. Okay, folks, you be the judge. If you think this is goy slop media, or not? Tell me.
A new study shows fluoride in drinking water has no effect on children's IQ or cognitive performance later in life. This study was done by a sociologist and population health expert at the University of Minnesota. And the results appear to contradict.
Of fucking course it's Minnesota. Do you know why it's Minnesota? Half the fucking people in Minnesota are retarded because of something. And I'm not, listen, I know people are going to go, what are you even talking about? What? Let me explain. Half the people in the, half the people in this state, the majority of their their diet is lake fish. And what is the issue with that? Mercury. What's the issue with that? That drives them nuts. Why do you think the majority of these people, you sit next to them at a diner counter, they'll start talking to you about the idea of restructuring. We need to start redistributing the wealth. We need to take from the rich and give to the poor, but we need to do it systemically, and we need to do it through restructure. And they are all in on these premises that have failed tiny states like Vermont, like universal health care and whatnot. Listen, I'm just saying, and that's not also including the other half of that is people who like live up in the woods, who own 50 guns, who own let me get it straight here. It's not just Democrats, it's not just Republicans, it is people, okay? The divide is false. The divide is not existent. But apparently, this is the University of Minnesota, the goodest of goys, quite frankly, that are doing this study, and they found fluoride has no negative effect.
Claims made previously by Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. He called fluoride.
This is actually not claims made by Robert Kennedy Jr. Why are we saying this now? Why is it suddenly that because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says it's wrong? We've known scientifically for years that fluoride in high exposures, like when you're drinking it every fucking day, is linked to neurotoxicity. Suddenly, because someone you don't like politically says it. Oh, it must not be true. Fluoride, it must be. Drink up. All of it.
Secretary Robert Kennedy.
Eat your toothpaste. It's a claim by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., not years of scientists before him.
Claims made previously by Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. He called fluoride a, quote, industrial waste. A medical group say fluoride can reduce tooth decay by 25%.
Tooth decay really carries...
Yeah, that's exactly why the Holocaust used it. That's exactly why Hitler used fluoride in the water. He really cared about the dental hygiene of the slaves that he worked to death over the course of a week. But do you know why he worked them to death? Because they were bringing people in. They didn't need a stable population. As a matter of fact, they had overcrowding. They had people sleeping on top of each other. They had people to spare. So don't get on me about whatever. It's he fluorinated the water, because he really cared about people's teeth. The government's doing it because they really care about your bone density. Let's hear about it.
Tooth decay really carries significant short and long-term consequences for children, toddlers.
Why are we talking about tooth decay?
Anybody, and these.
What are you talking about? European countries do not fluoridate their water, and they have the same level of tooth decay as the United States.
Chronic pain, so lots of missed school hours just from dealing with dental issues.
Some states like Utah and Florida have recently banned fluoride in drinking
Thank
water.
God.
A new
Folks, okay, what do you think? Is this good? Are these people being good goyim? Are you going to also be a good goyim? Are you going to engage with this brand new study that suddenly finds that fluoride exposure has no impact on our bodies? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next story to make you nervous. Why not? A disturbing new investigation has uncovered what is being described as an online rape academy, folks. Folks, I know what I just said may be disturbing to some, but if you are aware of what is on the internet, you might not be very, very shocked. You might not be very shocked if you listen to Rotten Mango. Maybe you're familiar with the rings of Chinese, I think it was Korean or Chinese, husbands who had a group chat where they would drug their wives and then sexually assault them and then share videos of that in their group chats with these guys, with the other husbands. And then sometimes they would trade wives. Sometimes they would be like, yeah, I'll drug my wife, I drug your wife. Oh, wait, no, you drug your wife, and then we switch. And then I'll fuck your wife, you fuck mine. And then this was a big thing in China or Korea. I don't want to blame either, just in case I get it wrong. But where tens of millions of men were allegedly sharing tips on how to drug and sexually assault their spouses. This is according to a CNN investigation that broke 5 days ago. But like I said, if you've been on Rotten Mango, if you've been on any level of research, you've known about stuff like this before. It's true. Let's hear about it right now.
Millions of men from all over the world collaborating on ways to drug and abuse the people they swore vows to love and protect, and teaching each other how to do it. The fallout from this investigation spreading like wildfire on social media. So here to unpack some of this for us is Dr. Tracy Stolberg, a marriage and family therapist who has a lot of experience dealing with tragedies just like the ones we're talking about tonight. Before we get into it, though, we thought it might be a little bit helpful to take this by the numbers and break down the hard truth behind the topic. Take a look at this. First, in just this last month, there were 82 million visits to that online Rape Academy website. So hard to even say those words.
82 million visits in March alone. In the United States, between 10% to 14% of married women are raped by their partners. In 17 U.S. states, a spouse can't be convicted of raping an incapacitated partner. Folks, what 17 states? I'll leave that to you to find out.
Which we're going to talk about in just a second here. Meantime, across the U.S., between 10 to 14% of married women are raped by their partners. And in 17 states, a spouse cannot be convicted of raping a partner who is unconscious, drugged, or otherwise incapacitated, all because of outdated laws still in the books. In the meantime, according to a survey conducted by the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence, 50% of male college students believe it is impossible for a man to rape his wife, and 34% said they would rape someone if they knew they could get away with it.
34%?
You may have heard people say, not all men, which is shorthand for not all men are responsible for hurting women. Well, when you have statistics as shockingly high as the ones we just mentioned, it's not surprising that you're seeing more and more people say it's all men until it's none of them. Meaning, until women can be sure they don't need to worry about being harmed, it's better to be safe than sorry. And so
honestly, I totally agree with it. This is the attitude that I suggest for many about why, listen, racial statistics are not tough to use. When a woman crosses the street because she sees me, I don't get angry at her. And when a black man sees me cross the street, I hope he understands in his heart why. I'm just using statistics, man. Listen, 13% committing 50%, 13% of the population committing 50% of the crimes. Listen, and 34% of student men apparently wish they could get away with raping. I don't blame women for walking across the street. Christ.
Thank you so much for joining us here.
That's not sexism. That's not racism. That's just playing the odds. That's playing statistics. Women, if you see me cross the street, I totally don't blame you. For your safety. That did not sound... That sounded so fucking terrible. Women, if you see me cross the street, that's a warning. Fuck. I'm just gonna move on.
Today, Doctor, to unpack some of this.
Thank you for
unpack some of
I
this.
know it was quite disturbing for you to even hear about this, but anyone who spends time online or in the news talking and listening about how to protect people during this important month would have heard about this Rape Academy. This is a really disturbing thing. Men telling other men how to hurt their own spouses. Unpack that for us for a moment.
Well,
Unpack
I'm
it.
shocked. I mean, I thought I couldn't be more surprised since I work with survivors and offenders and family members dealing with many of these issues. But there was some kind of idea that this is okay. And it's not just the person who created this website who maybe created it because they might make money.
It's a kink for some.
But you're right. They have...
For most of these guys, it's just like a sexual thing where it's like, I can get away with this. And oh, there's a bunch of guys that are also into it. Let's all beat our meat to it together. It's like the most gay thing. They don't even realize it.
Serious mental health issues.
You think?
Obviously, other people that are part of this website have as well. When I heard the numbers of people that had visited this, I thought, oh my goodness. I was trying to think, well, how many does that mean in a day? Or how many does that mean in a year? Where are these people coming from?
Thousands.
And what's going to happen when these women get told that they were videotaped by the person who vowed to love, honor, respect them.
That is, man, I'm not saying check your man's phone, but maybe have a conversation about your sexual things that you like to get into. I don't know. This is an unnerving story, and I'm going to try to pull this attitude and energy out of the gutter. President Donald Trump, Trump's acting attorney general, at least on Thursday, signed an order reclassifying state-licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Okay, so they're not whatever. They're not doing major policy shifting, but it is not Schedule 1. That's, it's something, I guess. It's something to distract from a lot of the major things going on. But, for weed people, I guess if you have a medical card, this is good news for you. I don't know. I'm not going to make us watch the news article about it, because we have the California gubernatorial debate to talk about. We have candidates Katie Porter, Chad Bianco. They battled it out over the topic of police administering English proficiency tests for migrant truckers. Not a bad idea, because you need to be able to speak English. Porter accused Bianco of supporting tests that amount to racial profiling. Shut up. It's road signs are not in Espanol. Jesus Christ. While Bianco says Californians are sick of politicians making everything the basis of everything. Excuse me. Let's hear their actual words.
Same question. Do you believe that English proficiency, language proficiency, should be strictly enforced for truck drivers? You have 60 seconds.
I would absolutely fight the Trump administration, because the job of the California governor is to protect Californians. And right now,
this woman is a mix of Freddie's mom from iCarly, the big fat principal from Matilda, and she's got the curls of just of Shirley Temple. She is a mix of all three of those very formidable women. Don't get me wrong, they are very influential figures in the zeitgeist, the minds of many. But, however, this is a huge and massive pivot. She has issues with presentation. She is witch-like in her delivery. She casts spells with her words. She feels as though she is always looking down at a book of spells on her podium. You know what I mean? She feels like she's in Hocus Pocus 9. You know what I mean? She feels that recycled. I'm just being honest with you. You think that she's going to grab a vacuum cleaner and fly away.
that includes protecting them from Donald Trump. Protecting Californians also includes enforcing traffic laws. And we've seen sometimes a need for oversight in California. For example,
that's who she looks like, the big fat witch from Hocus Pocus.
We have seen that the Department of Motor Vehicles was not enforcing rules around DUIs and drivers who had convictions for that. I am stunned that Mr. Bianco would say to black and brown Californians and immigrants who are being terrorized and racially profiled.
You think blacks are blacks are going to struggle to speak English? Why? They grew up in an English-speaking country.
You have to get over racism. It's not something that you get over. It's something that you fight. And if he doesn't understand the importance of that, he has no business representing a state with the diversity of California.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bianco. I'll give you 15 seconds to respond.
Yeah, again, that's not even close to what I said. What I said is we're Californians, and I'm speaking for them, especially from law enforcement. When I deal with persons of color every single day, Californians are absolutely sick and tired of our politicians making race the basis of everything.
Hell
it
yeah.
is not. And this racial divide that they are pushing between law enforcement and the public, or Democrat and Republican, absolutely has to stop. And I'm telling you, we are sick of it.
Fuck it. You know what? I'll support Chad. He seems like a worthy figure. Chad Bianco for California governor. I really like his mustache. There are attempts to investigate the missing scientists that are being thwarted, according to Representative Burchett, Burchett. Tim Burchett, Tennessee, says some U.S. intelligence agencies have been thwarting his investigations into the 11 missing scientists connected to the government projects. For some reason, people have been hands off with this thing, he says.
President Trump, as you know, is vowing to release more than 45 videos and UFO files. And you have said, quote, you would be up all night if the things that I've seen are released. What are you talking about?
His answer is long, old man, meandering. So I'm going to give the time instead to one of these 12 missing or dead scientists. Actually, the number is 12. I think it's climbing up to 13 at this point. I think there might be another one that's been added on. Amy Eskridge, we covered her last episode. The interview, we have a couple more of her words because this was her, I believe, briefly before she died. Let's just hear her out a little bit more on what allegedly she may have been killed over knowing.
Disclosure is going to come out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama?
Out of Redstone Arsenal.
Redstone Arsenal.
Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama is the biggest deal that you've never heard of. It's the biggest deal that you have never heard of. Because the fact is that we have deep and wide, extensive credibility that no one knows about because you're not supposed to know about it. Because it's in Alabama, it's obscure. You're not supposed to know about it. That's the point.
People that don't know what Huntsville is. Amy
You don't know what Huntsville is? Is that what you're saying? People don't know what Huntsville is. Huntsville is the biggest deal on the planet that you have never heard of. No, like, Huntsville is the...
It's often called the Silicon Valley of the South or Rocket City. It's the premier tech hub driven by aerospace defense and engineering, home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and Redstone Arsenal. It boasts a high concentration of STEM professionals, low cost of living, and a massive economic growth, making it a top U.S. city for tech jobs. Interesting.
Silicon Valley of government, national security technology, and intelligence community technology, and aerospace technology. Huntsville is like the hub. Like, we are number 3 on the first strike launch list. If first strike happens, 3 targets, Huntsville will be one of them. This is Alabama, dude, in the deep south. We're in the top 3 first strike. We're in the top 3 first strike because you haven't heard of us. That's why. It's on purpose. I started the Institute for one reason. One reason, the Institute. I started it as a public...
She's talking about the Institute for Conversations on Anti-Gravity.
...facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology through. Because, I told Mark this, if you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you stick your neck out in private, they will bury you. They will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news.
Huntsville, Alabama, ladies and gentlemen, a Redstone Arsenal. Let's talk about it. Let's get interested in it. A little bit more than usual, federal prosecutors said that a 44-year-old Los Angeles woman was arrested Saturday night in Los Angeles International Airport on suspicion of helping Iran traffic weapons into Sudan. This woman, she looks like tough. I'm just gonna be real. She looks like she needed the money for Botox. I don't feel too awful terrible for her. I think the puffiness, the redness will go down in jail. Who knows? Maybe she'll be looking prettier by the time we see her next. Let's actually cover our final story, why don't we? It's been too long. I think I'm just going to go ahead and cover what's happening in Georgia, Florida. There's a lot of wildfires, if you don't already knowing. They're dangerous. They're evolving. It's unfolding across the southeast this Thursday. Let's get into it. Go. Massive wildfires have exploded across the border between Florida and Georgia. They're fueled by a record-breaking 18-month drought and heavy winds in this region. The blazes have already destroyed more than 50 homes in Georgia and have forced the evacuation of hundreds of residents. The situation grew so dire on Wednesday that the Georgia Forestry Commission issued the first ever mandatory burn ban in the state's history for its southern half, while Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency for over 100 counties. Folks, as global warming, or global climate change, as we like to refer to it rather, because global warming, it's not getting warm everywhere. Some places are getting warm, some places are whatever, it's changing. That's all we can guarantee is change. This is going to get more common. The majority of the United States at a certain point, we thought California was the only one that's going to have a wildfire season. No, soon you in Bing Shaling, Iowa, you're going to have to deal with what? Are we going to have the sweeping hurricane fire winds this Saturday? Maybe me and my family are going to be able to mow not the lawn anymore because it's just charred, yellow, kind of the remains of grass. I guess we don't have to mow lawn, I guess, so I guess we're free this Saturday. We're not really free because there might be a fucking firestorm, but, we'll figure it out. The hardest hit areas remains Brantley County, Georgia, where the fast-moving Pineland Road fire grew 6 times the size in a single afternoon. County officials described a chaotic scene where flames were erupting in backyards while families were trying to flee out their front doors. Meanwhile, in Florida, state officials are warning of the worst fire season in nearly 40 years. Firefighters are currently battling over 130 active blazes across the state. There are significant threats concentrated in the northern panhandle and around Jacksonville area for Floridians. The impact is being felt as far as the front lines, far beyond the front lines, Massive plumes of smoke blanket the major cities like Jacksonville, Savannah, Atlanta. Air quality is plummeted to unhealthy in several counties, as though it was already healthy to breathe in the first place, prompting school closures and warnings for those with respiratory issues to remain indoors. Listen, as a person who lives in the Minnesota region, we deal with this every year when the Canadians decide for whatever reason to light up their fires. I don't know why they decide to, for some reason they really hate their forests, so they want to burn them down every year, or at least try. In Florida, Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson, that's a fun name, noted that the state had been in a drought for 18 months, turning swampy lowlands and timber forests into a super flammable kindling. No significant rain in the forecast, the National Weather Service is warning. The high-risk fire will persist through the weekend. FEMA has already approved emergency grants to help both states manage the soaring costs of the response. For many residents, the primary focus is shifting to, much like the Call of Duty games, just survive. One of the local officials is putting it, the region is praying for rain as crews are working around the clock to establish fire breaks before more neighborhoods are overtaken by the advancing flames. Let's see a little bit and then I'll let you go. There's just planes dumping sand. I'm retarded.
Several blazes across the southeast. From the ground to the air. In Georgia, the fast-moving Brantley County fire forcing evacuations. School buses rushing to leave an elementary school with blackened, smoky skies nearby.
Why you gotta make it a race thing?
Residents capturing devastating images of what's left of their homes. Cars completely charred to ash. Officials say more than 50 houses have been destroyed, an estimated 1,000 now at risk. Now, we know that you've issued at least 2 mandatory evacuation orders. What's your message to people who may be hesitant to get out?
That's a great question, and I'll be honest with you. We cannot force these folks to leave even though we give a mandatory evacuation. It's a very serious situation where we have citizens that are in harm. So thick you can't even see.
The smoke causing dangerous conditions on the roads. Drivers turning around trying to escape the black plumes. Officials here in Nahana have closed off several roads to keep people miles away from the fire zone, but you look up at the sky and you can see it's filled with that smoky haze.
That smoky haze.
Firefighters taking to the skies, dropping gallons of water to fight multiple fires in Florida and out west in Montana. Communities already fighting an uphill battle as the 2026 fire season gets underway.
All right, Aaron joins us live from southeast Georgia, right by what's being called the Brantley Fire. Aaron, what challenges are crews facing when it comes to getting this fire under control?
Well, Tom, this fire exploded from about 700 acres to nearly 5,000 acres in less than a day. Officials tell me they think it's about 10% contained right now, but the wind is a major challenge here that could make that number go down if these fires continue to jump some of the fire lines that have been established already, Tom.
We thank you,
Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this broadcast of Your Brain on Air. I had a wonderful time gathering these stories for you. I hope you had a wonderful time listening to them. If you'd like to be there for the rest of this week's broadcast, subscribe for more, like if you liked it, ring the bell for notifications. In the meantime, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with Your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening. I'll catch you in tomorrow's broadcast. In the meantime, bye-bye.